Pay attention to this chilling security camera footage. It was recorded on March 14, 2024, in Maplewood, Virginia. A residential CCTV camera mounted on the back of a house captured exactly 31 seconds of what would become the final moments of a woman's life. In the frame, an elderly white man with snow-white hair sits quietly in his wheelchair on a stone patio. A 35-year-old black woman wearing navy blue scrubs walks calmly from the back door toward him. She leans down gently, places her hand on the armrest of the wheelchair, and kisses him tenderly on the mouth. A real, loving kiss that lasts 4 full seconds. Then she straightens up, moves behind the wheelchair, grips the handles, and pushes him back inside the house. At 6:35 p.m., they both disappear from view. This is the last time anyone ever sees Alicia Turner alive. 11 days later, on March 25, 2024, at 6:47 a.m., an anonymous male voice, calm and distorted, calls the Maplewood Police Department. Riverside Warehouse, Unit 4B. There's a body. The line goes dead. Detectives race to the scene. The warehouse has been abandoned and non-operational for 3 years. They force open the door to Unit 4B and find a back room locked from the outside. Inside, they discover Alicia Turner. Her hands are zip-tied tightly behind her back. There are ligature marks around her neck. She is still wearing the same navy scrubs from 11 days earlier. She had been dead for 11 days while the entire city searched frantically for her. Most people initially assumed this was a random abduction. They were completely wrong. This was never random. This was about $2.5 million, a carefully revised will, and a family so desperate to protect their inheritance that they paid $50,000 to have someone eliminated. The story begins on September 12, 2021. William Hargrove, a 79-year-old man, is involved in a devastating car accident. A pickup truck slams into his vehicle at 50 miles per hour. He survives, but his vertebrae shatter, leaving him permanently paralyzed from the waist down. William has 3 immediate family members: his son Bradley, 54 years old, his daughter Christine, 51, and his grandson Tyler, 29. In the first month after the accident, they visit him regularly. By the second month, the visits become less frequent. By the third month, they almost stop completely. Bradley visits his father only twice during the entire first year. Christine visits once. Tyler never visits at all. William spends his 80th birthday completely alone, staring at a silent phone that never rings. Investigators later discover a journal entry William wrote in November 2021. In it, he writes with heartbreaking clarity, "My family vanished the moment I became a burden. I was only valuable when I could write checks." On December 14, 2021, William hires a home health aide through Premier Care Services. The agency sends their very best caregiver, a woman with a 4.9-star rating from 47 different families. Her name is Alicia Turner. She is 32 years old, born and raised in Richmond. She was the first person in her family to attend college and nursing school, but when her mother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, Alicia dropped out to take care of her. Her mother passed away 6 months later. Alicia never returned to school and instead became a certified home health aide. On her very first day at William's house, Alicia finds him sitting silently in his wheelchair by the window, staring blankly into space. He has given up on people. Alicia does not begin with medical questions. Instead, she asks him one simple, deeply personal question. "Mr. Hargrove, what's your favorite meal? The one you'd make if you could stand in a kitchen again?" William slowly turns his head. For the first time in months, someone is asking what he wants, not what he needs. He answers softly, homemade lasagna, his late wife's recipe. 2 days later, Alicia arrives with all the ingredients. She prepares everything at counter height so William can help from his wheelchair. When they finally sit down to eat the finished dish together, William cries, the first time he has felt truly alive since the accident. Over the next year, Alicia goes far beyond her required duties. She learns that William loves jazz and brings her own record collection so they can listen to Miles Davis during his therapy sessions. She discovers he once loved poetry, finds his favorite book, and reads to him every single afternoon. She takes him to parks and restaurants, places where people see him as a person, not just a man in a wheelchair. William begins to smile again. He laughs. He starts to hope. One quiet evening in June 2022, William asks her directly, "Why are you wasting your time with a broken old man?" Alicia looks at him with genuine warmth and replies, "You're not broken. You're just waiting for someone to remind you that you're still here." That is the exact moment William realizes he is falling in love with her. He says nothing. He is 80 years old. She is 33. It feels impossible. Feels wrong. But he cannot stop the feeling. By 2023, they have developed a beautiful daily routine. Alicia arrives at 8 o'clock every morning. They share breakfast, do therapy together, and talk about everything under the sun. Alicia begins to notice the way William looks at her when he thinks she is not watching. She sees how his face lights up every time she walks into the room. And slowly, she realizes she is falling in love with him too. On September 8, 2023, William gathers his courage and tells her, "I'm in love with you, not because you take care of me, but because of who you are. I know I'm 82. I know this is insane, but I had to tell you." Alicia leaves without responding. William is devastated. But the next morning, she walks straight to his wheelchair, kneels down and says, "I don't care that you're 82. I don't care what anyone thinks. I love you too." From that day forward, they become a couple. They keep their relationship completely secret because they both know his family would never understand. On January 18, 2024, Bradley Hargrove visits his father for the first time in 8 months. Phone records later show he had called his accountant the week before, asking about accessing his inheritance early because he needed money. Bradley walks into the house unannounced and freezes when he sees his father and Alicia sitting together, holding hands and laughing. Not like a patient and caregiver, but like a real couple. Bradley explodes in anger, accusing Alicia of taking advantage of his father. William's own anger finally breaks through. "Where were you when I was lying here completely alone? Alicia was the only one who cared." Bradley slams the door and leaves. That same evening, he calls Christine and Tyler for an emergency family meeting. The next day, all three of them show up at William's house. They tell him they are concerned about Alicia. William replies firmly that there is nothing to be concerned about. Bradley suggests he should fire her immediately. William loses his temper completely. "You abandoned me for 3 years, and now you want to take away the only person who ever gave a damn? Get out." They leave, but they are far from finished. The family hires a private investigator to run a background check on Alicia. The report comes back completely clean. They consult lawyers about challenging William's mental competency. The lawyers review all the records and conclude that William is completely lucid. Every legal avenue fails. Then, on March 5, 2024, everything changes. William calls his longtime attorney, Richard Thornton, for a private meeting. He announces that he is changing his will. Bradley's share drops from $1.5 million to $200,000. Christine's share drops from $1.5 million to $200,000. Tyler's share drops from $200,000 to $100,000. Alicia Turner is named the primary beneficiary and will receive $2.5 million, the house, and all remaining assets. William adds one very specific clause. If any family member is convicted of any crime against Alicia Turner, their entire inheritance becomes void and is donated to charity. He signs the new will on March 5th. It is legally airtight, but William does not know one critical detail. His attorney's assistant, Karen Ross, is Christine's best friend from college. On March 8th, Karen secretly calls Christine and tells her everything. Her father has changed his will and is leaving almost everything to the caregiver. $2.5 million plus the house. Christine immediately calls Bradley. That same evening, Bradley, Christine, and Tyler meet at Bradley's house in a state of panic, fury, and desperation. Bradley speaks first. "We need to challenge it." Christine shakes her head. "That will take years. We'll lose." Tyler asks quietly, "So what do we do?" There is a long silence. Then Bradley's voice drops to a whisper. "If something happens to Alicia before Dad dies, the bequest becomes invalid. The money reverts to us." Another long silence follows. Christine asks, "Bradley, what are you suggesting?" Bradley replies coldly, "I'm suggesting we make sure she's not around to collect." Police would later recover deleted text messages that proved the entire plot. On March 9th, Bradley writes to Christine and Tyler, "We can't let her steal what's ours." Christine replies, "What are you proposing?" Bradley answers, "Tyler has military connections. People who handle problems." Tyler responds, "I know someone, but this is serious. Are we really doing this?" Bradley writes back, "Do we have a choice?" On March 10th, Tyler calls Vincent Cross, an ex-Marine with a dishonorable discharge and multiple assault charges. Vincent brings in his partner, Rayon Silva. Both men have done this kind of work before. The price is $50,000, $25,000 upfront and $25,000 after the job is finished. Bank records show Bradley withdraws $25,000 in cash on March 11th and another $25,000 on March 13th. Vincent and Rayon begin watching William's house. For 3 full days, they study Alicia's exact schedule. When she arrives, when she leaves, what car she drives. This was never impulsive. This was planned with surgical precision. On March 14th, 2024, a Thursday, Alicia works her last day before a scheduled week off. William has a surprise planned. He bought an engagement ring 2 weeks earlier and intends to propose. Alicia has no idea. She also has no idea that Vincent and Rayon have been watching the house for 3 days. Around 11 a.m., Bradley texts Tyler, "Today, go." Tyler replies, "Already in motion." Alicia arrives at 8 a.m. as usual. She and William share breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast. William tries to flip a pancake from his wheelchair and fails. They both laugh. It is a normal, happy morning. The day passes with therapy, jazz music, and warm conversation. Around 6:30 p.m., they decide to sit outside on the patio because it is a beautiful, unusually warm March evening. The security camera is recording because it is motion activated. At 6:34 p.m., watch carefully. Alicia pushes William's wheelchair onto the patio. They talk and laugh. She walks around to the front of the wheelchair. This is the moment she bends down, places her hand on the armrest, and kisses him tenderly on the mouth for 4 full seconds. William's hand gently touches her cheek. No one else knows this camera is recording. It is simply 2 people in love. She straightens up, moves behind the wheelchair, grips the handles, and pushes him back toward the house. At 6:35 p.m., they disappear from view. This 31-second clip would later be played in court 6 months afterward. The prosecution would use it to prove that Alicia and William were not merely caregiver and patient. They were a couple who genuinely loved each other. When the jury sees this footage, they will understand exactly why William changed his will. It was never manipulation. It was love. Inside the house, Alicia helps William settle comfortably. She tells him she needs to run some errands and head home. He asks her to stay for dinner. She says she cannot tonight but promises to see him tomorrow. William smiles and says, "Tomorrow." Alicia gathers her things, kisses him goodbye, walks out at 6:47 p.m., gets into her green Honda, and drives away. Vincent and Rayon are parked 3 blocks away, waiting. The moment Alicia's car turns the corner, they begin following her. She drives toward town to run a routine errand. She needs groceries. At 6:58 p.m., she pulls into the parking lot of a store and parks near the back, away from the main entrance where it is quieter and there are fewer people. That is exactly what the killers had counted on. She gets out, pops the trunk, and reaches for her shopping bags. A white van pulls up fast behind her car. 2 men jump out. One grabs her from behind. She screams and fights, but Vincent is 6'2" and 220 pounds with military training. Alicia is 5'7" and 130 pounds. She has no chance. Rayon moves quickly, applying zip ties and covering her mouth. They lift her into the van. The entire abduction takes only 30 seconds. A store employee hears the commotion and looks over, seeing a white van speeding away. He thinks it is strange but does not call the police and does not note the license plate. Alicia's Honda is left behind with the trunk and door open, her purse on the ground, and shopping bags scattered. Store security does not notice for 40 minutes. When they finally do, they call the police at 7:44 p.m. By then, Alicia has already been gone for 46 minutes and is inside the warehouse. The Riverside Warehouse, Unit 4B, had been abandoned for 3 years. There is no security and no cameras. Vincent parks at the back. They carry Alicia inside the back room, a small, windowless space with only one door. They put her on the floor and zip tie her hands. Then Vincent does something investigators would later call the coldest detail of all. He does not hurt her immediately. Instead, he calmly tells her exactly why she is there. That Williams' family paid them $50,000 to make her disappear because she was standing in the way of their $2.5 million inheritance. It was just business. Around 7:45 p.m., 47 minutes after she was taken, Vincent strangles Alicia Turner to death. She fights desperately for 3 minutes, then stops moving. They leave her body in that locked room, drive away, and meet Tyler 2 hours later at a rest stop 40 miles outside town. Tyler hands over a duffel bag containing the second $25,000 in cash. Tyler asks, "Is it done?" Vincent nods and says, "She's gone." Tyler takes the bag. There are no loose ends. Tyler drives home, arrives at 10:17 p.m., and tells his wife he was at a late business dinner. She believes him. He goes to bed knowing he has just paid 2 men to murder an innocent woman and sleeps without any trouble. Meanwhile, police respond to the abandoned car at 7:44 p.m. They find Alicia's purse, phone, wallet, and keys inside. The car is unlocked, the trunk is open, and there are clear signs of a struggle. Within 2 hours, police issue a citywide alert for a 35-year-old woman abducted from a parking lot. That same night at 9:30 p.m., detectives arrive at Williams' house. He has been wondering why Alicia never called. When the detective tells him her car was found abandoned with signs of abduction, Williams' world collapses. He tells them everything: the secret relationship, the family's hatred, the confrontations, and the new will. The detective takes detailed notes and brings in Bradley, Christine, and Tyler the next morning. All three deny any involvement. Bradley claims he was home with his wife. Christine says she was at work until 8 p.m. and has coworkers to confirm it. Tyler says he was at a business dinner and has receipts. Their alibis check out. The police have no evidence. Days turn into a week. There is still no body, no ransom demand, and no contact. Alicia has simply vanished. William stops eating and stops sleeping. He sits in his wheelchair, staring at the door, waiting for her to return. Then, on March 25th at 6:47 a.m., the anonymous call comes in: Riverside Warehouse, Unit 4B. There's a body. Detectives arrive at 7:31 a.m., force open the unit, and cut the padlock on the back room. There is Alicia dead for 11 days. The scene is processed. DNA is found on the zip ties and fingerprints on the door. The real breakthrough comes when investigators check who owns the warehouse. Property records show it belongs to Hargrove Property Management, Bradley's company, inherited from his father. Bradley has keys to every unit, including this one that had been vacant for 3 years. That single fact changes everything. Detectives obtain warrants for phone records and bank records. They discover Tyler called Vincent Cross on March 10th for 8 minutes. Bradley withdrew $25,000 in cash on March 11th and another $25,000 on March 13th. On March 14th at 6:42 p.m., 7 minutes before Alicia left Williams' house, Tyler texted Vincent, "Target leaving now. Green Honda, plate Charlie David 7283. That was Alicia's exact license plate. Tyler had been watching or had someone watching. Investigators track the white van. Rental records show it was rented on March 13th with a fake ID, but security footage captures Rayon Silva picking it up and returning it on March 15th. Forensics on the van reveal traces of Alicia's DNA and fibers matching the zip ties. Vincent and Rayon are identified through criminal databases. Both have prior records and both have direct connections to Tyler from their time in the same military unit 8 years earlier. On April 3, 2024, the arrests are made. Bradley Hargrove is charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy. Christine Hargrove is charged with conspiracy as an accessory. Deleted texts prove she knew about the plan. Tyler Hargrove is charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy, kidnapping, and solicitation of murder. Vincent Cross and Rayon Silva are both charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and murder for hire. All 5 plead not guilty. The trial begins on September 9, 2024. The prosecution presents phone records, bank records, deleted text messages, forensic evidence from the van, DNA from the warehouse, and the 31-second CCTV footage from the patio. The jury watches Alicia bend down, kiss William, and push his wheelchair inside. The prosecution proves beyond any doubt that this was never a random crime. This was a family coldly eliminating a threat to their inheritance. The defense argues the evidence is only circumstantial and there is no direct confession. But on day 12, Tyler cracks. His attorney negotiates a deal: full testimony against the others in exchange for life with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Tyler takes the deal. On the stand, he tells the entire story. He testifies that Bradley proposed the plan on March 8th, saying the only way to stop Alicia was to eliminate her before William died. Tyler reached out to Vincent, who brought in Rayon. They paid $50,000. Tyler provided Alicia's license plate, schedule, and address. Vincent and Rayon conducted 3 days of surveillance. Tyler sent the final text on March 14th signaling when she left. He met them at the rest stop, paid the second $25,000, and Vincent told him, "It's done." Alicia was dead. Tyler knew everything and did nothing. He did not call the police. He simply went home and went to bed. The jury deliberates for only 4 hours before returning guilty verdicts on all counts for every defendant. On October 14th, 2024, during sentencing, Bradley receives life without parole. Christine receives 25 years. Vincent and Rayon each receive life without parole. Tyler receives life with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Court adjourns. But the most devastating final twist happens on that very same day. William Hargrove dies of heart failure, officially listed as natural causes. The hospice nurse later reveals that after the trial began, William stopped talking and stopped responding to anyone. He simply stared into space. On the night he died, he spoke one final sentence: "I waited 82 years to find love, and my son took it away in 31 seconds. Then his heart stopped. Because Alicia had predeceased William, her bequest under the will became void. But because Bradley, Christine, and Tyler were all convicted of crimes against her, the special clause William had written activated. Their entire inheritance, every single dollar, became void and was donated to charity. The family had murdered an innocent woman for money and ended up with absolutely nothing." During Vincent Cross's interrogation, a detective asked him, "Have you done work like this before? Families hiring you to handle problems?" Vincent looked straight into the camera, smiled coldly, and replied, "You'd be surprised how often families kill for inheritance." His attorney immediately stopped the interview. That line was never pursued further. The case closed after the convictions. But that single statement continues to haunt everyone who hears it. How often? Not if, how often? Alicia Turner did everything right. She followed every protocol, maintained professional boundaries until genuine feelings developed naturally over 3 years, and never manipulated anyone. She simply cared for a lonely, broken man when no one else would. William's decision to change his will was not the act of an incompetent elderly person. Multiple doctors had confirmed he was completely lucid. It was an act of gratitude for 3 years of dignity and love when his own blood had given him nothing but abandonment. Yet to Bradley, Christine, and Tyler, that money was theirs by birthright. It did not matter that they had not visited him. When they discovered it was no longer theirs, they chose to eliminate the obstacle. On March 14th at 6:34 p.m., Alicia kissed William on the patio, completely unaware that 3 blocks away 2 hired killers were waiting in a white van. She had no idea Tyler had already sent her license plate to them. She had only 24 minutes of freedom left. She was simply kissing the man she loved. 31 seconds later, she was back inside the house. 13 minutes later, she walked out the door. 11 minutes after that, she was grabbed. 47 minutes after that, she was dead. 11 days later, her body was found. 6 months later, the killers were convicted. 7 months later, William died. All because a family decided that money was worth more than a human life. If you work in healthcare, especially home healthcare, understand this story deeply. Alicia had perfect reviews and 8 years of flawless experience. She did everything right, yet she still became a target simply because she showed real compassion. The warning signs were never in her behavior. They were in the family's sudden hostility. When family members who have been absent for years suddenly reappear and accuse you of manipulation with zero evidence, document every single word, dates, times, exactly what was said. When they threaten your job, report it immediately to your agency and create a paper trail. When you feel watched or unsafe, trust that instinct. Alicia had 3 hostile confrontations with the Hargrove family. She never reported them because she hoped it would simply blow over. It escalated to murder. The Hargrove case officially closed in October 2024. Bradley, Christine, Tyler, Vincent, and Rayon are all in prison. William is dead. Alicia is dead. But the questions remain. How many other families have quietly conspired to eliminate caregivers they saw as threats to their inheritance? How many other Vincents and Rayons are still waiting for the next phone call and the next $50,000 payment? How many healthcare workers right now are being secretly watched by families who view them as obstacles to money that was never theirs to begin with? We do not know the answers. Most families will be far more careful than the Hargroves. Most will get away with it. Alicia's last moment of freedom was at 6:34 p.m. on March 14th. Kissing William on a sunlit patio while a camera recorded and 2 killers waited only 3 blocks away. She had 13 minutes left before she walked out that door. If she had known what was coming, would she have done anything differently? Would she have run, called the police, or simply stayed on that patio with William, knowing those 31 seconds were all the time they would ever have? We will never know. But we do know this. She deserved so much better. William deserved so much better. If you work in healthcare, vary your routines. Never park in the same spot every day. Never leave at exactly the same time. Never assume family members are safe simply because they are family. Document every hostile interaction, every accusation, every threat. Trust your instincts. If you feel watched, threatened, or unsafe, report it immediately and create that paper trail. Alicia had those feelings. She ignored them, cost her everything.